before this podcast starts, just know that you have the option to just keep this playing on YouTube and not actually look at my face because that would be very unnecessary. And at the same time, oh, there's a speed option in Spotify, and there's also a speed option in YouTube. So if you think that you want to process everything I'm saying a lot faster, then by all means, please go fast forward it now. Thank you.
The wonderful, beautiful podcast.
But anyway, so the topic that I'm going to be discussing right now is something that I'm very, how do I say this, like passionate about. Like it's really important to me talking about this topic because I talked about it in one of my old videos about like, it's kind of like a girl talk video, but I was also painting in that video where I talked about PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, however you want to call it. And a lot of people, like I said, like a couple of symptoms of polycystic ovarian syndrome, and they were like, wait, I think I have that. And I'm like, and I can't like reply to every single person. So hopefully, even though it's really, really late, like I've been kind of procrastinating making this video because I felt like the only time I would want to talk about polycystic ovarian syndrome is when I've like healed myself from it. But I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. And I think I've been diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome for like 4 years now. I think I was diagnosed in 2017, but I'm gonna talk about it. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, where am I? Like, this is not my room. I'm actually in my brother's room because I'm quarantining right now. In case anybody cared, but you probably didn't care. But anyway, polycystic ovarian syndrome is this thing that I have had, and I didn't want to talk about it because I felt like I wasn't qualified to. But if I just kept like the things that I've learned to myself, like if I don't think I will ever be 100% an expert. I'm not a med student. I literally have no medical background whatsoever. I am simply just a patient. I'm a victim of this stupid freaking syndrome. And this is just like all the things that I have to share about it. So I'm gonna give you like a quick little background. Polycystic ovarian syndrome gives you symptoms. It can manifest in many ways. So the way that my doctor told me is that if you have 3 of these symptoms, you probably have you can be diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome already. So there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of symptoms of polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I'm gonna state a few. So there's mental ones, which is there's like anxiety, depression. There's more physical ones like obesity, diabetes, acne, parasitism. Oh my god, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it basically means like you have an overgrowth of hair, like there's too much hair in your body. There is polycystic cysts, which means that if you had an ultrasound for your vajayjay or your butthole, if you have stuck a machine into your butthole for why am I saying it like this? Oh my god, I'm literally not remembering any of the scientific terms, and now I sound like I'm stupid. You can have a transvaginal examination or a transrectal. So you can stick a machine up your anus, up your butthole, or you can stick it up your vagina if you're prepared for that. And they are going to like go through it. They're gonna like, I'm scaring you. But the way that you can diagnose that symptom is they are going to put like this machine dildo up. Sounds so bad, but it's a machine, okay, and then they're gonna stick it up your asshole or your vagina. Your vagina is the more, oh sorry, my phone is ringing. The vagina gives you a clear view of it, but they're able to scan the insides of your reproductive system, and they get to see your ovaries, and they get to see if there's like some cysts on your ovaries. So I just want to note that you do not have to actually have cysts in your ovaries for it to be polycystic ovarian syndrome. So, for example, you only have obesity, acne, and overgrowth of hair. You have 3 symptoms, which is already enough to diagnose you with polycystic ovarian syndrome. So a lot of it is it has to do with hormones and hormonal imbalance. Sometimes we have, there's also more symptoms include irregular periods. So like if you bleed for too long, if you bleed for more than 2 weeks and it's like really heavy periods, or you haven't been having your period for like 2 months, or like, no, I think that for it to be like something that's super worrisome is if it's already been 3 months and you still haven't had your period. That's something that you might want to worry about. There's also infertility. A lot of mothers or people who want to be mothers see this as obviously this is going to be super heartbreaking for them. So if you are having trouble, I don't know if there's any mom people that are watching my channel, but infertility is also a huge symptom. So for example, for my polycystic ovarian syndrome, this is really difficult for me to talk about because I've always felt so ashamed about it, but I feel like I shouldn't because it's literally like I need to stop stigmatizing it in my brain and just, be more like there's nothing wrong with having things like that aren't necessarily quote unquote healthy or whatever. But yeah, so for my symptoms at least, I have acne and I have irregular menstrual cycles. So at some point in my life, I had my period for like 3 weeks. And it became like super bad to the point that I was losing way too much blood. And I would start to just pass out because I was losing so much blood, and I would get tired so easily. So like it's really a domino effect, this freaking syndrome, because because my menstrual cycle is so irregular, I am losing a lot of blood, which made me anemic. At the same time, I started to have like really, really bad endurance. Like I could run like a street and I would already be like super, super tired. I could do a little bit of cardio and I would be super, super tired. I used to be like, when I was a kid, I was like it wasn't like a swimmer, but I remember being good at swimming and I wouldn't get tired. I can do like 2 laps, easy peasy banoonie, and then boom, 10th grade comes and suddenly I can't finish 1 lap. I can't make it halfway to the pool. Like I just get so tired so bad, which was like really frustrating for me. Like I hated that because I always I was one of those bitches who would stay at home and be like I stay in school and play ago base and like all these like physical activities, and I wouldn't get tired, and I'd be so mayabang about it too. I'd be such a show off because like, oh, I'm so much faster than all the other boys, and I was just like really strong, and I was like so like quick and whatever. I was just great, okay? I'm just hyping myself up right now, but that's also like really heartbreaking for me because like I learned to kind of like hate doing any physical activities because I just feel so weak all the time. So yeah, that part really sucks. Next, I actually do have polycystic ovaries. So they stuck a machine up my butthole. I remember literally laughing. Like a lot of people were like freaked out, right? Because like it's such a taboo topic, like reproductive health or like anything that has to do with your vagina or your genitals and all that shit. Like a lot of people are like, oh, that's so weird, like why would you talk about that? But I just kept talking about it, and then I was like, dude, tomorrow they're gonna stick a machine up my asshole. And they're like, okay. But anyway, so the main reason why I was diagnosed was because like we'd tried everything for my skin, but my skin was just like, it was just not working. Like it was just very hormonal. So my skin problems were very hormonal. So no matter what cream I would put, whatever, I swear, if somebody fucking tells me to just wash your face twice a day and put on my moisturizer, I will hex you. I will literally hex you. I'm kidding, I won't. But like I think it's such a, how do I say this, shallow understanding of somebody's health, which is also part of the reason why I want to talk about this, because if like I want people to know, like, don't judge people if you think that they're fat and they're like, oh, why don't you just exercise, or they have a lot of hair in their body, like, oh, why don't you just get your eyebrows threaded or some shit, or why don't you just shave your beard off, or why don't you just wash your face. It's such a shallow understanding of health, because the body is so complicated. That's why people study, health for like 10 years, because it is so complicated. So like a lot of people might have other symptoms, and I know that a lot of you guys were messaging me about like, oh, I think I have that, but I'm so scared to talk to my parents about it, because like, I understand that a lot of my viewers are from the Philippines. I don't know if I should speak Tagalog or not. But okay, let's just speak in English for the sake of everyone. I understand that our culture teaches us to make things a little bit complicated when it comes to reproductive health or sex education, which I think is so fucking stupid, because it's so annoying. Because I would, when I first discovered I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, they automatically put me on the pill. So the pill is a contraceptive pill, it's a birth control pill, which contains hormones in it, and it sends signals. So it makes the signals go in my body so that I can menstruate regularly. And the pill was very helpful for me when it comes to my skin, and it did regularize my menstruation. The thing that I didn't like about it was the fact that it gave me so much headaches. I know a lot of people are going to ask, so I'm already going to say it. The pill that I was taking was Diane 35. I think that was the number, but it's called Diane. And the thing that I didn't like about it is that it gave me hella headaches, which was kind of a bother, especially if I'm in school and like if it's in the middle of math class and there's like shit that I really need to understand and I can't concentrate because my head is literally killing me. Or the other thing that I didn't like was it did make me gain weight. I don't know if you guys noticed, but you probably didn't notice. But at some point in this year, I tried to go back to... No. It was like October to April? No. Yeah, I think it stopped around May. So I tried going back to the pill from October to May of 2020 to 2021, and I did gain a little bit of weight. I don't know if you guys probably noticed, but I don't think people actually know. It's not that bad, but it still like kind of bothered me because I was always very used to being very small, and it was kind of confusing because like I was experiencing a lot of like body confusions because it's so complicated, but I'm not gonna talk about that now. So it did make me gain a little bit of weight. I know I sound like such a whiny bitch because you're gonna look back at my videos and be like, what the fuck, she didn't even gain any weight. So I'm sorry if that sounds annoying, but I acknowledge that probably does sound annoying. So yeah, that's like something that I didn't like. And it also made me extremely... Bitch, why is people messaging me, huh? Okay, sorry. Where was I? God damn it, I got distracted. Oh, yeah. It made me got all in my feelings, Like, I don't... Like, I would literally just randomly cry. Like, I would just wash the dishes, and then suddenly a tear is just falling down my cheek. It made me so emotional, made me overthink so much. It like gave me anxiety, gave me depression. I don't know. Maybe I'm just self-diagnosing, but it was just not good for my mental health. And I know that other girls are, a lot of people who did go through contraceptives or go through the pill did experience a lot of changes about their mental health. So that was also a huge downside for me. So here's like my little story, right? So I was on the pill when I was from like 9th to 10th grade. And at some point I had like this teacher, she was like a science teacher, and she said, we had like a lesson on something, and then she talked about how like, girls, you have to make sure that you feel your titties. So you would like, because like, there might be like abnormal growths in it that you need to be concerned of, or like some tumors that you need to check. And I was like sitting next to Jillian. If you guys know Jillian, she's one of my friends. But like I was sitting next to her and I was like, oh yeah, I have those. And she's like, what do you mean you have those? I was like, yeah, like I have like a lot of like bumps or like weird like growths around my breasts. And then she's like, dude, you need to check that out. And I'm like, really? What if it's just nothing? And then she's like, no, you need to check that out. And at that point, I would experience like a lot of pain around my boobie areas. So if you're also experiencing boobie pain, then that's also a symptom, I think. So I was like, oh, fuck, okay, maybe I should. And then, so I'm just gonna elaborate on how you can check. The best way to check is like to lie down to make like your boobies as flat as possible. So you kind of lie down and like you raise your arms. You can have somebody else check it if you're comfortable with that, but you can like raise your left arm and then feel your left boobie with your right hand, or you raise your right hand and feel your right boobie with your left hand, but like you can just like feel if there's like any like growth that you feel like does not feel normal to you. And you can have yourself like a little mammogram. You can get that scheduled. So I did get that scheduled. Obviously, it was like benign. I did actually have tumors in my breasts, but it's nothing to be worried about. Nothing about it is malignant or cancerous. It's like benign tumors. But I stopped taking the pill because of that, because my family does have a history of breast cancer. So so being on birth control or being on the pill does put you at like a little bit at a higher chance of getting breast cancer in the future. You can look it up. So that was kind of like the last like straw. Other than it made me emotional, gave me headaches, made me fat, it also heightens the risk of breast cancer, which worries me. But obviously, it's just that I think I'm more prone to it because of my genetics. So it's not like that for everybody. I will still definitely recommend the pill if you think that that is what the best option for you. So yeah, there are a lot of people that are always on the pill and they don't experience any problems about it. But I'm sure you guys probably like have seen TikToks of like how long the side effects are for taking birth control. Like if you open one box, like the entire like half, like the 90% of the box is just like a paper that's folded, and it's just like a long ass list of what the side effects are. So I'm not really looking forward to going back on the pill anytime soon. But anyway, as I continue, I stopped taking the pill at some point, and obviously my acne went back in, and it was like such a huge downside for me. Oh wait, in case you guys are curious, a lot of people are probably curious if it made your boobies grow, if it made my boobies grow. It did a little bit. It wasn't like a huge significant change. I didn't go from an A to D or anything like that, but like it did kind of grow, but I feel like I would rather attribute the growth of my boobies for the weight that I gained. So that's what happened for me. A lot of some girls, they experience like actual just boob. Like they just suddenly like blew up into big boobies. Cock destroyer boobies. Anyways, what am I saying? Why am I saying things like this? I'm gonna move forward into like the things that I do now with my habits. So far, the things that I have been doing is I have been avoiding dairy. So as we know, like the cows are being pumped up with testosterone, which is like if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome or androgen, like the male hormones kind of like are a little bit higher compared to like the female hormones, which is what causes acne and all that shit. So I don't drink dairy, I don't drink milk, I don't drink milk tea. I'm not completely off dairy, but it is something that I avoid. I still eat cheese, I still eat Cheetos, I eat ramen with melted cheese on it. I think it's just so fucking good, but I would never drink like a carton of milk, or I wouldn't drink like a milkshake with like actual like cow's milk. So the alternatives I used was I used to use soy milk, but I found out that also wasn't really the best for girls. So I stopped drinking that. Now I usually drink almond milk or oat milk. And I understand that these milk alternatives are a lot less accessible, and they're a little bit more expensive, which really, really sucks. And I wish like they were more accessible because, honestly, we really, this is just my opinion, might be controversial, but we really shouldn't be drinking cow's milk. Like, it's really not good for you. There are so much more things that give you calcium that isn't cow's milk. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. Like, you wouldn't drink doggy milk. You wouldn't drink cat milk or zebra milk. But why the fuck do we drink cow's milk? It's nasty. Can you imagine if, like, another animal drank from your titties? That's literally what we're doing to animals. Like, I don't know. But, cow's milk just really isn't good for you, in my humble opinion. And I understand, like, if, I understand that it's not the most accessible thing to have milk alternatives. But yeah, anyway, I talked about milk for like 5 minutes straight. So, other than that, I don't eat pork. I don't know if it has like any significant effect, but I don't eat pork because it's a diet. I really just don't eat it because I don't like how it tastes most of the time. I don't like bacon. I don't like lechon or yampo, and I already feel people writing a paragraph about how my Filipino card is now revoked because I just said that. But yeah, I really don't like pork. I eat hot dogs, so that's fun. I don't like chicharron. I don't know, I just don't like it. I usually eat a lot of fish. Sometimes I eat beef. I eat burgers. Most beefs, I'm kind of like a 50-50 with beef. Not a big deal. Okay, so I feel like we shouldn't, like, I've heard a wise woman once say that it's not always about the foods that you should be avoiding, it's more of the foods that you should be implementing into your diet. So I have done a lot of research about, like, some foods that are good for people who are suffering with PCOS, and right now I'm on the journey of, I'm really into turmeric. I can do like a full-on video about the drinks that I like to make, but I don't know if people are going to be interested. Maybe I'll just turn it into a podcast. It can be like a cooking cast, a barista cast, you know? So I try to put a lot of turmeric. Turmeric is like this spice that is really, really good with helping inflammation. So that is something that I do. I make turmeric lattes, turmeric hot chocolate, turmeric coffee. So yeah, it's really good. I mean, like, if you get a good kind of turmeric. And then there also, I've been drinking a lot of spearmint tea, and I think spearmint tea is one of the best for when it comes to the hormones, like the hormones itself. Like, there's not like super a lot of research about it, but it is like, what the fuck is the harm? It's literally just tea. So I just keep drinking tea, and I do try to do this thing where I drink apple cider vinegar, which is, I feel like, is a little like, kind of, I mean, yeah, this is a lot less expensive compared to buying birth control. Birth control, like, sometimes like 1,000 per pack, or 700 to 800, 500, ganon. Apple cider vinegar, add a little bit of water in it, and some lemon to make it more tolerable. So that's something that I try to do in order to kind of regulate my periods. I did do that for a period of time. Sometimes I would do it when I know my period should be, or it should be about to come. I have no idea how that sentence should make sense. But like for example, I know that my period is going to come next week, or it's supposed to come next week, so I would kind of drink apple cider vinegar early in the morning before I eat anything. I would drink it in hopes of getting my period the next week. And so far, I have been having my period every single month. I don't know for this month yet. I am due next week. But yeah, so far it's been okay. It's not perfect. Sometimes my period is still a little bit too long, but at least it's not enough for me to, just suddenly pass out. Never fun. But yeah. Oh yeah. And maybe for like the last part of this podcast is just a full-on rant on, again, I'm going to relate this to feminism. Because as far as I know, when people are studying medical stuff or the body or whatever, people who are in the medical field, usually like the things that are in the books, in whatever disease there is, the body that is usually studied is the male body. So a lot of the times, the female body isn't what is focused on, and some people might be aware of this. Some people who are studying in med school probably, or have studied in med school, probably aren't aware, or they at least they just never thought about it. But the models that they are usually studying is the male body and not usually the female body, which I think is like, it's so important. That's why whenever it's like polycystic ovarian syndrome month, it's every September, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about this because I think that women's health is so important. And like, women's health is, see, that's what, when the patriarchy comes in, because we do not get the same amount of like studies or research, and we do not get like the same healthcare as men do, as males do. I think trans women also could use those studies and those research, because they are also taking pills that are manipulating their hormone levels. It's just like, it's so frustrating because polycystic ovarian syndrome has been going on for so freaking long, like literally so freaking long, yet there's still no cure for it. There's still no proper medication for it other than birth control. Like, what the heck? If you guys want to go to a doctor, I think if you get to score a good OBGYN, then by all means, go ahead and go to a doctor. It should always be your number one choice, or your number one option is to get a doctor that cares for you and to, get professional help. For me, I'm not gonna lie, I have my own frustrations with doctors, because sometimes they would kind of like just dismiss, my problems. Especially when I was younger, when I first got diagnosed, they're like, it's fine, like, you're still a kid, it's normal. It's not normal. Like, they're gonna be like, it's fine, it's normal. When you're like 19, it's gonna be normalized. Guess what? I'm turning 21 and it's still not normalized. Like, please. And they wouldn't be concerned about the health unless I'm trying to get pregnant. They're like, it's fine, you're not trying to get pregnant anyway. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, can y'all not? And then, or maybe I would say that my number one issue is like, I don't give a fuck if I bleed too much or whatever. I couldn't care less. But my main problem was my skin, because I was like, I cannot function when I feel ugly, y'all. But they're like, they would dismiss it and be like, they just think that it's like, some vanity thing and like whatever, which isn't helpful, because I feel like it's really difficult to be taken seriously as a woman in healthcare. It's really not fun sometimes. But if you have if you have been blessed with an OBGYN who takes care of you and actually asks you about things, inquires about your history, doesn't dismiss your concerns, by all means, please leave their number down below, because I would love to have that, because so far a lot of the OBGYNs that I have consulted with, I feel like they're just dismissing my concerns, and so I kind of just like have to go with my own research and just go with my own flow. I've learned to kind of like not really depend on them, but obviously, to go seek professional help and do your own research. But please go seek professional help for legal purposes. I don't want to be an influencer who tells you not to go to the doctor. I'm telling you to please go to a doctor. And I wish you all the luck when you go to a doctor. So, yeah. Or like, oh, you know what's also annoying? And they're like, oh, it's fine, it's normal to have dysmenorrhea. Bitch, it's not. It's not normal to have cramps, for you to feel like you're giving birth every single month. Or, it's just not. It's not okay. And when you take a painkiller, the painkiller, okay, it works. It works for a while, but it's still there. It doesn't disappear. And that's not normal. Something needs to change. Something is up, and I hope we get that research that we need. Because, come on, women are literally like, we're literally some women, not all women, but some women, literally birth givers. Okay? We literally make this world go round, love. So, y'all better. This is a call to the medical world. Please give us attention. Because this has been going on for too long. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much I hope this helps you. And I hope that I did educate you in a way, especially about you guys' health. I know that it's very common to have these problems. Very, 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 very common. I have had a friend who literally, like, she didn't have almost any symptoms. The only symptom she had was like not menstruating that much, or like having like an irregular menstrual cycle at some point. I don't even know. I'm allowed to share this, but at some point she just started having like really, 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 like, it just her fucking lower part literally just hurt. It hurt so bad that she was crying. It was like so fucking bad. And so they rushed her to the hospital. And then when they rushed her to the hospital, she needed to get surgery, like an intense surgery, because by the time they were there, apparently, because she didn't know anything, she didn't have any other symptoms, there has been a cyst. Not polycystic cysts, like not small cysts that are in one ovary, but it's one huge cyst in her ovary that just ruptured, that just erupted, and inside was like these like fluids and shit. It was so bad. It was like, it cost her family so much money, because obviously who the fuck would expect like your fucking ovaries to randomly fucking rupture and burst, right? I feel like reproductive health should be like, you know how people have annual checkups, right? So when you're in your annual checkup, they check your height, they check your weight, they check your temperature, they check your, I don't know, they feel something in your neck or some shit. They check your blood, they check your bones, your x-ray. I think that reproductive health should also be that normalized. It should also be part of a checkup. It shouldn't be something that you would only go to if you want to get pregnant. It shouldn't be something that you would only go to if you feel like you have an STD. There's so much stigma when it comes to reproductive health, which is so fucking stupid, because it's just like any fucking part of your body. And I'm getting so heated right now. Sorry for the amount of swearing I'm saying, but it should be normalized, because it's people's health. It's literally people's health. Because if you don't know what's happening with your reproductive system, because it's not being checked regularly as the other parts of your body, like, that thing could lead to much worse. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is also closely linked to cancer, also very closely linked to diabetes, also closely linked to depression and anxiety and all that shit. So it's not something that is shallow. It's not a shallow disease, because, you know, for example, me, it gave you fucking anemia. Like, come on. I just want to swim without getting tired. I want to be able to float in water without literally running out of air for like 30 seconds. Like, it sucks. Yeah, I felt the need to talk about this because it's something that I'm very passionate about. Please go take people's reproductive health seriously. It's really weird because, like, I would go to the OBGYN and they're going to be like, oh, like, why are you here? Are you pregnant? What the what? I'm just trying to get my health care in check. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna end this podcast right here. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully this helped. I don't know how to do outros. Outro!
The wonderful, beautiful podcast.